Okay, hello everyone and welcome to today's session with Agency and Freelancer Academy by Promo Republic. Today we're going to be talking about social media reporting and how to deliver and demonstrate ROI from your reports. We just hit start on today's session and I know that there's still, I think, maybe 1 or 2 more minutes before the clock hits exactly the right time. But if you are here right now, if you could go and use the chat box here in Zoom and let me know where you are tuning in from today, that would be really great, so we can start to see who we have on today's session, how many people we have here, etc. And for those of you who have just joined us in the last couple of seconds, today we're going to be talking about social media reporting and how to deliver and demonstrate ROI from your reports for your clients specifically. And I was just asking if you could go ahead and use the chat window. Let us know where you are coming in from today, where you're tuning into this webinar from. That would be really, really great. And we will get things started in a couple more minutes time. Just going to wait for maybe 1 or 2 minutes past the start time to ensure that everyone is able to get here kind of on time and ready for the start. Okay, I see we have Olga in the chat from tuning in from Boston. That's awesome. Thank you for joining. Great to see you here. I'm leading today's session from Tallinn in Estonia. That's where I am right now, or where I am today. Let's turn this light off in the background. Okay, cool. So maybe we'll get started then, so we don't keep any of you who are here already waiting around for too long. I want to make sure that you have a productive time on today's session. I'm just going to finalize a couple other things on my screen and then we will be ready to go. Okay, cool. Let's get things started then. So today we are going to be talking about social media reporting, how to deliver and demonstrate ROI. If you are watching the replay of this session, thank you for tuning in. Do your best next time to come and join us live in real time so that you can kind of ask or share any questions that you may have that we will action as we go throughout the session. We like to keep these webinars as engaging or interactive as possible, especially actually on a session like this. I know we have a fairly small group today by the looks of things, but we will be spending a nice amount of time going through some reporting related stuff. And I know that this is a big challenge or pain point for a lot of agencies and freelancers. So if you have any questions as we go through today's session, go ahead, drop them in the chat box. And maybe to get started with those of you who are here live today, if you could go ahead and let me know what kind of agency you are running at the moment, or whether you're even running an agency at the moment. That will help me make sure I'm kind of tailoring some of my responses for those of you who are here on the live session. And we'll get to me in a second, kind of who I am and why I'm running this session for all of you. But today we'll be covering kind of 2 or 3 core areas. So key things to consider when building out your reporting, how to prepare and share reports with your clients, and then some reporting examples, tools, and questions from anyone who has them. So this will be the kind of high level of our session today. I'm going to be taking as many water breaks as I can. I had a long travel day today, so my voice is a little croaky for some reason, not too sure why. Okay, so first, who am I? Some of you here, I'm just looking in the chat box over here on the right-hand side of my screen, and I can see, I think 1 or 2 familiar names, but the rest of them I don't recognize. So if this is your first time on one of our live sessions, welcome. I'm very excited to have you here. My name is Dylan Hay, and I am one of the co-founders and the CEO for a paid advertising agency called HeyDigital. And so we are a fully remote agency. We have a team of 14 or 15 people right now. And we focus on managing paid advertising campaigns and creative alongside those paid advertising campaigns for some of the leading B2B SaaS companies in the world. And we've been running this business for about 3 years and learned a lot kind of along that way as we've been doing this also. And my focus on these sessions is I don't actually work kind of for Promo Republic. As you can see, I run my own agency. And so the Agency and Freelancer Academy that Promo Republic are putting together is going to become a really great kind kind of online learning and education resource for other agency owners and freelancers. And so they're bringing on people like myself and others to lead webinars, roundtables, other sessions, events, etc., to provide all of you agency owners with as much support as possible. I think when I founded my agency 3 years ago, the thing that's helped us grow and evolve the most, especially in the last 12, 18 months, because just over a year ago, there were only 3 of us in the team. And the thing that's helped us grow the most is leaning on different mentors, consultants, and people for specific guidance and support. And so it's really great to see Promo Republic kind of pushing this for their audience as well. So that's a real high level of kind of why we're doing this and what we're doing. And I run sessions 2 times a month. And I'll talk to you a little bit more later on about our next upcoming session. But if you did want to view any of the previous sessions, all of those recordings are also available. And I will share the information or the links for that a little bit later on into today's session, so that you can go and find previous recordings or previous sessions, etc. Yep, and I also host a podcast if any of you are interested in that. I know that I don't think any of you listening or watching this are within the SaaS space, but you may be, who knows. So if you are, go ahead and check out my podcast, which is called the SaaS Marketing Show. And on that show, I interview CMOs at leading SaaS businesses. And this has become a really great lead acquisition channel for our agency as well. And that's something that I talked about on previous webinars around how you can use podcasts and content to generate leads for your agency business. And so I would definitely recommend checking some of our previous sessions if you could, where we talked about that. Okay, so that's enough about me. I don't want to spend too much more time talking about me. Instead, I want to focus on you and provide you with some support and some learnings, hopefully. And also, if you are just joining us now, I see we've had a few more people filter in the last few minutes. So welcome to today's session. If you could go ahead and use the chat box to let us know who you are, where you're tuning in from, or what kind of agency you run, that would be really great, so that we can all learn a bit more about each other, maybe even network, and so that I can tailor today's content to all of you. So we're going to start by covering 5 key steps to creating your first client report. Now, this is one of the reasons why I'm asking you kind of what agency you're running or where you're at, is because I've positioned this today to be focused on, okay, these are some things to consider when building your first report. And then these are some tools to utilize or things to consider how to build these reports. And then we'll do some questions. So this is fairly, I guess, early stage. However, at the same time, I do think I will be able to share tips and tricks with those of you who run more established agencies, maybe from some of our reporting learnings over the last couple months as an agency. I see that some people are using the webinar chat and some people are using the Q&A section. I actually didn't know there was 2 different sections that you can utilize. I just had another notification pop up on my screen. So I'm gonna put all of these little chat bubbles on my screen so I don't miss any of you. There's one more box I need to add over onto my screen here, because I just saw some messages from Stephen, who's a photographer that runs a boutique studio from the Eastern Shore of Maryland in the US. So hey Stephen, welcome to today's session. Thank you for dropping in there. So 5 steps to creating your first client report. Number 1, and this may seem extremely obvious, but this is actually really, really important. And that's to identify your key stakeholders. I don't know if I should have used the word stakeholders. I feel like that's a kind of big enterprise Fortune 100 company kind of word. And I don't really operate that way too often, but identify your key stakeholders, identify who is going to be viewing your reports or who you're going to be talking through these reports with, because each individual has different needs and different requirements. As an agency, at HeyDigital, we work with one exact company type, right? So we work with B2B SaaS companies within a certain revenue range, usually have raised a certain amount of funding, for example. And so although we work with the very similar companies, they're not competitors for each other because they're all different SaaS solutions, but we work with the same range of companies. And most often we work with a very similar persona. Sorry, I just punched my microphone by accident. Most often we work with a very similar persona, which is usually the CMO or the VP of marketing or like head of growth or something like this. However, sometimes it may slide slightly outside of that. It may be a co-founder now and again, or it might even actually just be the digital marketing manager or paid acquisition lead, for example. And all of those people have different requirements from their reporting, or different things that are important to them, different objectives even. And then one layer deeper to that, a CMO at one company may have different preferences to a CMO at another company. And so a lot of agency owners will tell you, hey, you want to standardize as much as possible and create standard operating procedures and everything else. And I totally agree with that. Like, you want to create SOPs for everything. You want to ideally start with templates for everything, especially when it comes to reporting. However, I don't believe that's always necessarily scalable or right for your client. Sometimes you're going to have to veer off of that path a little bit. And so one way that we figure out how to do this is by not just identifying who our key stakeholders are, but learning about how they like to operate, how they like to work. So often when we're working with clients, I will try and understand exactly what their goals and objectives are, not just for working with us, but overall in their marketing division and in their business. And that kind of ties into this next stage about establishing clear goals, which I'll keep this on the screen actually. I was going to say we'll get to this in a second, but I often get our clients to share with us what their marketing team's OKRs are, or objectives and key results, for any of you who don't utilize that framework for goal setting, or what the company-wide goals and objectives are for the next quarter, or what our contact point, what do they need in order to get an internal promotion? Like, I'm asking all of these kind of questions because this will help me identify my key stakeholder, of course, but actually learn what's important to them and what isn't important to them, so that when we are doing the reporting, we can tailor not necessarily always the report or the structure of it or the template, but we can also tailor how we share this report. Like, okay, some of my clients at HeyDigital, some of our clients like to talk to us really frequently. They'll send us Slack messages every couple of days. They really like to spend a long time on phone calls, etc. And then we have some clients who barely speak to us throughout the month. We get on a 15-minute phone call once a month to run through their report. And so they need something different to what a more needy client might need. And so this is all, I guess, slightly off on a tangent, but actually this is extremely important when thinking about building reporting, because yes, you can just have a template that you share with your clients, but in order to maintain successful agency client relationships, you need to understand your client and what they need and what they require, and do the best that you can to service that, as long as you're comfortable with that. This is something really key, because as an agency, if you can keep a client for an additional 3 months, if you can increase the lifetime value of your agency clients by 3 months worth, that can be pretty significant for the business. So something to consider. And this then ties into point number 2, which is to establish clear goals. And so when I share this, I actually was talking more from the perspective of, for your reporting, we all understand, like, maybe I know I've asked this question a couple of times, asking you to let me know what kind of agencies you run, and very few people have shared. So I'm going to ask one more time. If you don't share, it's okay. Don't worry, but I'm going to ask one more time, because in the world of social media marketing agencies, there are so many different potential goals and objectives. And so one client may be very focused on ROAS metrics, so like return on ad spend metrics. Someone might be really focused on profit. Someone might be focused on number of signups or requested calls, demos booked. Other clients might be focused on awareness metrics, video views, video view percentage watched, etc. There's like hundreds of different metrics you can focus on, and we'll talk about this in the reporting sense. I have something about choosing the right metrics in a second, but your clients will also have, more than likely, multiple different goals. I know that clients like to say they're extremely laser focused in what they do, but my experience has been that's often not the case. Very rarely do I see a client that has very strong OKR structure for their objectives and very clear expectations for their whole team of what their results and goals would be. I would love everyone to be like that, but it just often isn't the case. But when that is the case, it makes our life as an agency so much easier. And so what I really encourage you to do with all of your clients is establish the clearest goals you possibly can. I'm not saying that it's always going to be one goal and one goal only, but the clearer you can get on what the goal is, the easier your reporting will be. And more importantly, the easier it will be to show your worth as an agency. And so for a lot of our clients, this could be pipeline generated, and they may have a goal of, we want to generate X amount of pipeline this quarter in Salesforce. Or for some of our clients, it will be, we want to generate as many trial signups as possible, and our target cost per trial signup is X. It's like, if we have these kind of metrics, it's very clear for us to show whether we're doing a good job, a bad job, or an okay job, right? And to report back on that is much easier as well. Thank you to Kissy Black in the chat that says, I run an integrated Marcom paid and owned B2B. That's really cool. Would love to know a bit more about your agency and how that's going. Feel free to name drop if you want in the chat section for everyone. Okay, so establish clear goals. This is something that's extremely, extremely important. Let's get to my next slide right here. Here we go. Choosing the right metrics. So this is leading on from what I was saying a second ago. In our space, there are so many different metrics you could report on. I was going to share a list on here of like different reporting metrics available in Facebook and Instagram, but it was a little bit intensive, so I decided not to do that. But you could be reporting on all the different conversion actions. You could be reporting on impressions. You could be reporting on frequency, on video views, view percentage, click-through rates. Like, there are so many different things that we could report back to our clients on. And just because you have access to a ton of data, and just because you can report on something, it doesn't necessarily mean you should. When we first started HeyDigital and we were building our reporting templates, we would try and report on like everything, almost like as much as we possibly could. And actually it made it challenging for some of our clients and for our relationship with them, because their reporting, they felt like they weren't actually getting that much out of their reporting because there were so many different things to look at and it was kind of hard to digest. So with some of our clients, we have really, really simple reporting that we do for them, where we create like a dashboard with an overview of the KPIs, for example, right? And so if you have a good understanding of your client, right? If you really understand the key stakeholder, like we were talking about a second ago, and you understand what's important to them, it makes it much easier to then choose the right metrics to track and share in the reports that you prepare or what you work on together with them. And I think this is something that is really important, because it is really tough sometimes to over-report, or it's very easy to over-report, and I don't want you to be doing that, or to be spending all this time creating all these templates and dashboards on things that your clients are never going to use. I do still question, to be honest with you, I still question, like, we do a reporting call each month with our clients, and I'll talk about that cadence a little bit later on. But we also have dashboards for them that they can view at any time. And I still question how many of them actually look at those. Like, I really don't know, but we spend hours, or have spent hours, on building all of those out. So something that's interesting to think about as well. And then the fourth point is to select your reporting tool of choice. So once your priorities and goals are defined, you can then, and only at that point, select the best tool to help you with your reporting, or how you're going to structure your reporting. There are so many different options to consider and different things to consider when choosing a reporting tool or something to provide your reports. The screenshot here is from Promo Republic's inbuilt reporting, which I will show you a little bit later on. I'm not going to do like a full demo or anything like that, but in a section of this webinar, I'm going to share with all of you the most common reporting options or solutions, and then a few kind of dashboards and examples with you as well. Because yeah, choosing a reporting tool or something to help is challenging. I've been through it. We've used so many. So yeah, this is like step 4 would be to select that tool of choice for you. And then step 5 is to confirm your reporting window. And so what I mean from this isn't just like how often your reports update, but also how you're actually going to do your reporting, like with your clients. This is more a client communication thing, but what does that look like, right? And so, yeah, you see these bullet points here. I don't need to read through these, but with our clients, the way that we structure reporting and communication in general, not to say this is the right way or there's a right way or a wrong way. This is just what we found work best for my team at HeyDigital and our clients, is all of our clients, we have a shared Slack channel with them. That's because in the SaaS world, pretty much everyone, I don't want to say everyone uses Slack, but it's very, very, very rare for a client not to use Slack, and it's how they do a lot of their communication. So we use Slack. We have a shared Slack channel with all of our clients. This is to minimize kind of email because there are many people involved in the project from our side and our client side. And if everything was done via email, it would be slow and things would get missed by team members. It's also so the client feels like if they need us, they can get to us quickly. But we don't communicate in there a ton. What we do in our Slack channel is once a week, we share a weekly wrap up or a weekly update with a high level overview of the core metrics in the account and any big changes that have happened in the last week, so that in 10 seconds, they can get a quick overview of what's going on. And then we use our Slack channel for some other ongoing collaboration. But from a reporting perspective, once a week, we drop in an update. And then we have 2 phone calls a month with our clients. One is a reporting call, which is 45 minutes long, where we'll have prepared a deck in Google Slides, which we'll share with them and run through the deck on the call. And then our other call with them is a 20-30 minute check-in call, but not to do with reporting really. But this is how we structure our reporting. And so I want you to think about your reporting window or your cadence, how often you do it, how you structure it. We also have dashboards for our clients that are real time, that update multiple times a day, so they can view the metrics at any given time that they need to as well. So that's kind of what I mean by this section, and what I would like you to consider when talking about reporting or thinking about reporting windows. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to look at some reporting tools and examples. Now, I am going to share my screen to do this, like share another screen to do this. And this is where we're going to get a little bit more practical and not stick to a webinar kind of deck. If any of you have questions about reporting, I would really encourage you to get them in like right now if you can, so that I can show you some things right now, but then also answer them as we're running. So we're going to look at some reporting tools, some reporting examples. Now, the first thing that I wanted to do, let me go to Zoom and switch my screen share really fast. Okay, where's this gone? Here we go. New share. Okay, and if you could just confirm with me that you can see a different screen share now, that would be really great. So what I did was I did a quick Google search of social media reporting tools, just because I wanted to see, I haven't looked for something like this in a long time now, and I wanted to see what was out there in terms of how overwhelming it can be, or all the different options there are. So you'll of course see lots of ads. I'm not going to bash this because this is exactly what I do for my clients, right? This would be a very high intent keyword for a lot of our potential clients, right? But if we go to like, you'll see 10 of the best analytics tools, 21 analytics tools, reporting and dashboards, 25 tools. Like there are so many different tools that you can use for reporting. Like look at all of these that people are sharing here. It's a very crowded marketplace, in my opinion, like social media analytics tools and like agency reporting tools, right? There's a lot of stuff here. So many in here. 14 reporting tools, all agencies need to try. So these guys are saying that you need to try 14 different tools. I don't think any of us will have the budget or the time for that, right? But you get the idea, like all of these different options that are available. So many actually. And so there are a few things to consider. I'm just going to stop my share and come on the big screen, and I'll go back to the screen share in a minute. But when you're thinking about reporting tools, like you want something that is simple from the perspective of you can easily duplicate when you onboard a new client, but you want something that's also customizable if required, if you have a more complex client that comes on board. Like for us as a paid agency working in the SaaS space, sometimes it's really challenging because a lot of our clients will have different conversion focuses, conversion actions, custom events, all this other kind of stuff. So we can't just duplicate a dashboard and leave it. We always have to make some updates. And so you want to think about things like, okay, is it easy to duplicate? Or if not, how flexible is it? What integrations does it have if you're using a tool? Like, can it connect with all the ads platforms or all the social media platforms that your clients are using easily? Can you white label the tool or at least make it look good or customize it at all? What's the experience like for the clients? If they are going to go in and check this out and use it, is it something that flows easily? How expensive is it? Maybe if you have 4 or 5 clients, you might not need to worry about this, but you don't want to select a reporting tool and have 4 or 5 clients that then when you get to 20 clients, 50 clients, whatever, the bill becomes extortionate. And then you just want to also think about, like, is it something you're going to be able to train your team on and enjoy using as well? So these are a few things I consider when looking at reporting tools. Now, let's share with you a few different options. So the first thing, like, it would be crazy of me to be on this call running a webinar for Promo Republic and to not mention Promo Republic, right? I feel like the team probably wouldn't like me if I didn't do that, or I would just feel a bit weird about it, especially knowing that they have their own reporting and analytics section. So for any of you who are running purely social media management for your clients, this might work for ads as well, I'm not too sure. But if you're a social media management agency and you're already using Promo Republic for all of your scheduling and content creation, you have a reporting tool available to you right here that is actually very nice from what I've seen else in the market. And so this is just me in a dummy account to share with you. Like, you have all of the important things for paid for social here around kind of performance overviews, audience growth. Everything is easy to view and explain in here. Nice graphs. This is important for me. Nice highlights. This is also very important for me for client reporting. Everything that you need is in here. You can also go and filter by content, for example. Like, everything that you would need from a social media reporting perspective is here, and you can export this, choose the different date ranges, etc. Export this report out. And then there's also this, like, statistics section for all of your kind of individual posts as well. So I think it'd be crazy of me not to suggest this if you're a social media marketing agency. If you're maybe already using Promo Republic, this would make a lot of sense for you to consider or take a look at, right? So this is one thing. Now, after something like Promo Republic, there are a few different routes that you can go down. So there's the route of, and I saw someone ask this in the chat, Patrick said, I'm curious about your dashboards. What software do you use for dashboards? So I'll talk about us personally at HeyDigital in a second. Unfortunately, I can't share any actual client ones that are real and live. We have some really cool creative reporting for some of our clients, but I'm just not allowed to share that with you because it has client like data in there, but I can share a template of ours with template data. So I'll talk about that in a second. But for agencies starting out, there are a few different routes that you can go down. So you can go down the route of building out all of your own reporting using something like Google Data Studio or even Google Sheets. We'll talk about the pros and cons of that in a second. And that's actually what we do. So we utilize Google Data Studio. Or there are some purpose-built tools for agency reporting outside of something like Promo Republic. And some of the most popular ones that I've seen before, and I've tried in the past when I first got started, is Agency Analytics is one to take a look at. So this is a SaaS solution where you can go ahead and set up very nice dashboards for your clients here. This is their explainer video, but you can see like an example of a dashboard here, right? Very nice on the eye, easy to look at, customizable in terms of you can just click and drag different sections, all automated, and you can connect up most of the different channels that you will need, put in your brand, your logo, etc. So there's tools like this. Another one is dashthis.com. Some great social media reporting tools. These are kind of out of the box solutions, and none of these are like crazy expensive either. So Dash This, you can see 25 dashboards, 10 dashboards. I think Agency Analytics is probably something similar. Yeah. 150 a month. I haven't used either of these for a while, but I did like Agency Analytics. And reports, this is one that we used at the very beginning of our agency, or tried at the beginning of our agency as well. So these are some kind of out of the box solutions where you would sign up to their SaaS product, you would connect some of the integrations like analytics, Instagram, Facebook, Shopify, whatever it may be. And then very quickly you can have a report ready built. So to show you this, I'm sure they'll have some examples here of like a social dashboard, right? I'm sure there'll be example dashboards in here. Yeah, look, give clients a custom dashboard, customize social media dashboard, preview the template, and you could put together something like this very, very quickly and easily, right? Which I think for a lot of you would probably be really useful. So there's those out-of-the-box solutions. Then the next step is Google Data Studio. Now, I saw someone mention Data Studio earlier on. So Data Studio is actually free. It's a product from Google, of course, with Google Data Studio, right? I'm logged in, so you'll see all of my dashboards. But it's a data visualization tool. And essentially, you can connect up lots of different connectors with Data Studio to pass the data from the different platforms into Data Studio, but you usually need a connector to do that. And so one company that you can use for connectors is Supermetrics. So you use a Supermetrics connector, or another company that I've just started using called PowerMyAnalytics.com. These guys provide connectors so that you can take your Facebook data, your Instagram data, all these other channels, and put it into Data Studio. And so one of the great things about Data Studio is everything is fully customizable, and a lot of people will share templates. So you'll see these are some templates that these guys have created. If you were to do like Google Data Studio templates, oops, I didn't mean to click on maps. Google Data Studio templates, you would be able to find a ton of templates ready built online. Actually, Supermetrics have built some of their own that you can see here, like a paid channel mix report, Facebook ads, Google ads comparison dashboard, etc. I can't show you, I wish I could show you some of our live dashboards for our clients, but I can't share with you their financial data. However, this is like a high level overview of an older template of ours, where it will be, so this is all like fake data, but this is an overview of everything together. So LinkedIn ads, Google ads, Facebook ads. This is the Google ads button. So when you click on this, it takes you to a Google ads page. And then you'll see metrics will fill in here. You can change these different drop downs for kind of date ranges that you'll see, device, campaign names. Sometimes the only issue with Data Studio, or one of the issues with Data Studio, is it is very slow. So you'll see that when there's a lot of data to populate or to crunch through, it can take some time. But here we go, it's finally updating. But you'll see all of this is customizable. Like you can build your own templates that look really nice. And this is a very cost-effective solution. You just need to pay for the connectors. I think we maybe spend a few $100s a month on connectors, but we have quite a lot of clients that need these. And so this gives you a high level of some of what you can expect from a Data Studio dashboard. Now, the challenge with something like this is it's nowhere near as easy to build something nice and visual like this as it is in a tool like Agency Analytics. So unless you have someone on your team who knows how to use Data Studio, probably wouldn't rush into trying to build it yourself. You won't get anything that looks like this, but you can use some of these templates if you wanted to. But yeah, Data Studio, in my opinion, is a really great long-term and scalable solution. However, for early to mid-stage agencies, I think tools like Agency Analytics, This, Reports, or more importantly, if you're a social media agency and you're already using Promo Republic for your scheduling, I would use Promo Republic's reporting kind of functionality and features in here. Yeah, so these are a couple of things I wanted to share. Now I'm just going to switch back to my other screen share. I see we have a question as well from Kissy Black that says opinion on Sprout. So you're talking about Sprout Social, right? So I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know a ton about Sprout Social. I actually used to work at Hootsuite. I'm sure all of you know Hootsuite. I used to work at Hootsuite. And when I worked at Hootsuite, our major competitor at that time in the kind of enterprise level space was Sprout Social. So I know enough about them from a few years ago, but I don't know enough recently to be able to share with you like any opinions or thoughts on what they have. I'm sure they have analytics. I don't know if they have like agency level reporting. I may be wrong. But I'm not too sure. Sorry, I wish I could share more. Kissy says, did you think Hootsuite was superior at the time? Yeah, how long do you have? It depends. I was in the enterprise sales team at Hootsuite, and in North America, we were crushing Sprout, but in Europe, Sprout were doing great. Over the last few years, it looks like things may have changed. I don't know. I'm not going to add anything else. I have opinions on that, but I am a diehard Hootsuite fan because that was one of the best companies I ever worked at, and my team were amazing, and it was a great environment. So I will always stick up for them, even if I don't fully believe they may have the best solution. But I think with tools like Promo Republic now, Sprout Social, maybe some of these others, there are potential better alternatives. It just depends at where you're at. Like some of these kind of early mid-stage agencies, if you're doing social media management for clients, I think Promo Republic is one of the best out there for agencies right now. But yeah, that's kind of some of my high level thoughts on that, Kissy. Okay, and so we've already looked at some reporting tools. I have a few other kind of tips that I'm going to share in a second. But before we do that, I want to share with you a quick reminder about our next webinar, which is how to scale agency revenue by adding social media services. Now, I did have a link, but for some reason, it's not populating in my speaker notes. I can't copy and paste it. So I'm going to go here and grab it for you. So if anyone ever wants to find recordings of these sessions, go here, growth.promorepublic.com, and then you can click on webinars, and you can see like previous webinars from me and from other people as well in here. It's really, really awesome, actually. And then you want to look at, here we go. Okay, this is the link for the next webinar. I'm going to put it in the Zoom chat right now. And I would encourage you to just go and click on that link and register for free, just so that you get the reminders. I know that if any of you are like me, I will not remember something that's in 2 weeks' time unless I have reminders set up for it. So go ahead and set up some reminders, schedule that webinar in your calendar by registering now. I have one more slide with some tips and reminders, which will probably take us 3 or 4 minutes. And so I'm really sorry. I just realized I shared the link to all panelists and I'm the only panelist. So that's why none of you saw the link. How about now? Can you let me know if you can see it? It's Aliyah, right? Aliyah? Yep, awesome. Cool, you've got it. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. I just shared it with myself. So I have one more slide with some tips and reminders, and we have about 5 more minutes scheduled in for this session. So I'm going to say if you have any questions on anything we've discussed so far to do with reporting, drop them in the chat now. Or to be honest with you, if you have any agency related questions about anything at all, I'm going to be here for another 5 minutes and I would love to help and support some of you. That's where I get the most joy from these sessions, is when people are really active and I can help you through real world problems. So any challenges that you have, please share. I really would love to help, even if it's like one of you in real time on this session. That would be super awesome. So some other tips and reminders from me. These auto-generated reports and reporting tools, they are great. They save a ton of time. But the true value to your client is for you then being able to explain the data, pick out highlights, lowlights, and help them make decisions or make decisions for them. And so I really don't want any of you to build or run your agency in a way that you have a reporting tool or dashboard, you share that with the client, and that is your report. Like, the reason they work with you is to add insights to those reports and collect from that data, collect things that you can implement as experiments or tests or whatever. So always spend time reviewing those dashboards or those reports before you do a reporting call or a check-in call with your client, and try and pull out some relevant information that you can share with them, where you can say, okay, this month or this week, we saw a reduction or an improvement here on this campaign or in this area. And one of our learnings from that may be this, and this is something that we can implement to help you move further forward. And that's how you're going to see success as an agency, is being data-driven and using those data points to help your clients. And more importantly, like I was just talking with my co-founder about this earlier today. Like, I think as an agency, we actually at HeyDigital need to be even more proactive with our clients with sharing different ideas, because I think we've got a little bit too comfortable with some of our clients of just the kind of usual ongoing workflows. And so reporting is a great opportunity to share new ideas, fresh ideas, and show them, even if the ideas never happen, if you're constantly bringing ideas to the table, a client is going to feel as though you really care about them and are very active in the accounts. We've also found that sending reports, so we do have those reporting dashboards that our clients can view at any time, but then also each month we do a reporting deck where we break down the highlights of the last month. And so that can be any big implementations or changes, success stories, etc. Then we break down the data from each of the channels that we run advertising on. And so we take some snapshots from our report, from our automated reports. We take some screenshots from them, put them in the deck, and add insight onto those. And then we talk about our plans for the kind of next month or any changes. And one thing that we found is if you send that report to the client ahead of the call, like a day ahead of the call becomes a lot more useful most of the time, because you can spend the time on the call answering any of their questions and talking about the important stuff rather than going through slide by slide every single point. And so that's another tip that I would definitely share if you can. And then the other thing is, like, if you are just keeping your clients up to date regularly, reporting is easier because it's a little less stressful because they are already in the know about what's going on. If you just do one report a month, or we only do one report a month, but if you only check in with a client once a month and it's on a reporting call, I can't even imagine how stressful that would be, because they probably don't know a lot that's going on. And so there must be so many questions or maybe even concerns. And so I would recommend keeping as open communication with your clients as you possibly can, keeping them up to date regularly, because then your reporting becomes a lot easier as an agency. So those are 3 additional tips and reminders from me. Now, I wanted to find an excuse to put a cute GIF of some pugs in here, so I found this one. Anyone have any thoughts, feelings, questions? I know I encouraged some of you to go ahead and put some questions in the chat about 4 or 5 minutes ago, and I haven't seen any come in just yet. So I'm going to hang around for another minute or two to see if we have any questions, or another few minutes to see if we have any questions come in. But that is the end of my material for today's session. So if you are gonna leave right now, I want to say a big thank you. I hope you found this useful or you enjoyed this in one way or another. And I would really hope to see you on our webinar in a couple of weeks' time, where we talk about how we're going to scale agency revenue by adding social media services. So yeah, if you do leave now, thank you. I appreciate your time. If you're watching the replay and you've stuck around to the end, thank you as well. I hope this has been valuable for you, and try and join us live next time. Let's give it a couple minutes to see questions come through. I see that we've had 2 come through. So Stephen, I would like to meet with you about SEO. Stephen, you're going to have to give me a little bit more context there if you could. We don't do SEO services as an agency. So if you're looking for help with SEO, we're not the right one for you. But yeah, if you want to discuss things, send me a message on LinkedIn. But I'm not just to be transparent with you, I won't just jump on a call. I need a lot more context than that. Okay. Alea Smith, you mentioned that it's different for each client, but what would you say the top 3 key metrics are to look at? So it depends on the client, and it depends on what the service offering is, right? So it's really hard to answer that. If you could give me some insight to your clients, that would be great. For me, usually it's like the number of conversions, because we do paid ads, right? So the number of conversions, the cost per conversion, and the return on ad spend, if I had to pick 3. But with some clients, we can't do return on ad spend. So it could be like number of conversions, cost per conversion, volume of opportunities open. Like there are a lot of things to look at. But for me, it would be the 3 or 4 metrics that are most key to the success of your client. I hope that helps. But good question. Thank you for asking that. Okay. So I think what we'll do is we will wrap things up at this point. Thank you to everybody who joined us. I hope you had a great time. This was a lot of fun, and I look forward to seeing all of you in a couple of weeks' time. Goodbye, everyone.